Dude, he's already said he feels bad. What are you doing?
By the time we finish the show, it's going to look like a taco.
Hey, we're on record, so
let's BS about that. Let's call it out in the show.
we're already recorded.
We're already going, man.
We're already recording, brother.
All right.
So let's fill in the people on the inside joke.
Okay. All right. So
if you can't tell, we're in a brand new studio, and I mean, obviously, it looks a little bit different than our normal digs. Now it's not done yet. We still got some work we got to do.
We got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, we got a lot of work to do. But Tyler built us a sweet table, right? Puts a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort in this table.
Yeah.
Well, we show up the other day, and this table's looking like a taco shell.
It wasn't a complete taco shell. It
wasn't necessarily like a taco shell. It was like if you have those tostada salads,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like a bowl. Not perfect. So it looks like that. So I'm at home via Zoom on this, attempted round table that we were doing, right? As these guys are sitting around the round table that I built for them, and I can't even focus on what they're saying. Because I'm looking at this, I'm like, there's no way that this is like optical illusion from the Zoom camera.
Right.
I'm like, is that table really warped?
That's exactly what you said it too. The way you said it was like, wait, is that table warped or am I seeing things?
I've known Tyler for 3 years now. I've never seen him that down. He was beat.
Crushed, guys. I seriously was crushed.
And so if you can't, obviously we don't have if you're watching this, we're looking over here, but
it's right in my eyesight right now. I'm literally facing this
We quickly got rid of the table.
And I said before we started today, what did I say? I said before Tyler shows up, which he's always late, but before he shows up.
We need to burn this thing.
Let's get rid of this thing. I want to get the evidence. The show was great with Tyler's fans.
I'm glad you guys didn't, because I'm taking that thing home and I'm taking a sledgehammer to it just to let all the emotions out on this table.
And for those of you that don't know, Tyler actually really is a good woodman. He works well with wood.
He's a woodworker.
Yeah, you can tell. You
handle the wood very well.
You can tell how many tools Ben owns.
But I'm the worst, and I even got that one down.
Remember when I was on a call with Ben, and he was asking Whitney where the tools were.
Is that a screwdriver or is that Phillips?
Let's just say you know how to work the wood.
Oh man, I appreciate you saying that. That means a lot coming from you, Ben.
So anyway, man, we're excited to be in this new studio. Again, not done. We still got a lot of work to do, but sure beats. I'm sure your wife is pumped that we're out of
She is. I think, and we're beginning here, man. We haven't even finished the look. And again, Tyler built what would you call it? The sound
barrier.
Sound cloud.
Which you can't see on camera.
You can't see it on camera, but man, hey, we appreciate
well
you.
done.
No, I appreciate you guys.
And Tyler actually did the painting and the border. It all looks really good. Other than that taco shell over there.
Taco table. Taco Tuesdays. And we also have an intern working with us.
Hey, I don't want to toot on our horn, but we're big time now.
Yeah, we showed up. Yeah. And you know what I love about Elizabeth, who at some point, where's the mic? We didn't give Elizabeth the mic? All right. I mean, it's all
Producers
right.
don't speak.
Yes, she will. At some point, trust me. She's going to be running the show, of course, here.
Yeah.
But
it won't be us anymore. It'll be her.
Elizabeth has done a great job of helping us through not only the show and the lighting and the cameras, but the social media side of things as well, which I definitely don't want to be, all the way involved in that. But
you've been wearing yourself out recently on social media, by the way.
I'm like, up early.
You've been watching.
Well done. I'm like, well
you've
done.
Been writing.
Hey, some of the stuff you're saying, I'm like, dang,
that's wisdom.
He's kind of got a good point.
That's wisdom. Where's that stuff in person, Darren?
It motivates me to start my day.
Hey, but I got to say this about Elizabeth, and this is actually my first time meeting you face to face, and just seeing what you've done so far. Really impressed, really excited. Yeah. We're not going to call this an internship. She's our producer.
She's our producer.
Partly for you to give credit where credit's due, but also partly so we sound professional and we have a producer. So
it's like putting lipstick on a pig.
But really excited. A lot of experience coming from SMU, doing some work over there for their basketball programs, and we're really excited about what she's going to bring to the show.
Another exciting thing, we've got we've grown quite a bit the last few weeks. And so a lot of people may be listening for the first time. And first of all, thank you. I mean, it's awesome that you guys are tuning in. Obviously, we love our ride or dies from day one.
Yeah.
But like I said, the growing has been crazy in the last few weeks, and can't thank you guys enough. We love doing this show. 3 former football players just trying to, talk life and try to talk about our three pillars, 3 core pillars every time. It's
PER.
Yeah, the PER.
The PER.
Right.
Yeah.
Perspective.
Encouragement,
resiliency. That's kind of what this show's about. So we're about the PER.
Well, and you say that, right? And perspective is one of the things I think is a main pillar that we have because, Ben, as you mentioned, 3 former football players that all made the transition into something else. Mm-hmm. And, where our focus for a majority of our lives was focused solely on athletics, but that's changed. Mm-hmm. Ben, it's been almost a decade. Myself, it's been 7 years. And Darren, I mean, how many decades?
Yeah, man. See, I knew it was coming. Why are you setting me up with this shit?
Yeah, we joke all the time. Darren played before face mask.
That's right. Suspension helmets. But again, the perspective of, okay, hey, moving from one thing to another facet of life, whether it's fatherhood, or parenthood, whether it's business. But again, a lot of listeners, especially in this time, are going through transitions, whether it's from one job to another, family situation to another. Mm-hmm. And that perspective, we're not claiming to be experts in any area. And so if you're listening to this and wanting hard facts and concretes, that's not us.
That's right.
We speak from the heart. We're transparent. Struggles that we've gone through, victories that we've had, and we want to share those things. And we want to be, the next pillar, encouragement. That's right. Because there's a lot of hard things in life. But if you can be encouraged to look at it from a perspective of positivity, that's what we're here for. And we want to be able to share those things and share some really cool guests along the way that have gone through some really, really tough battles to get where they are.
And that's what's been therapeutic to me is when we have our conversations, it's one thing, having the roundtables, because the roundtables we're basically naked in a sense and having these conversations, and we're opening up. And Ben, you said it before.
I was gonna say, I've said stuff on here I've never verbalized.
Right? And it's great that we can have three friends who enjoy I don't know how much I enjoy your guys' time, but we enjoy we enjoy each other's times. But it's that hour and a half to where we can actually conversate. Mm-hmm. Outside of everything else, the noise is done. And it's just us three having that conversation, and then having a guest on. And the guests have been therapeutic in a sense, because you're hearing stories that relate to you personally. However successful they are, or whatever their situations are, at some point they've hit these road bumps throughout their lives, which speaks directly to the same road bumps that we've had to overcome as well. So to me, it's been very therapeutic.
And the other element is, it's the cliche, I wish I could go back and, what would I tell my younger self? It's kind of what this is about. Everything we wish we could tell our 25-year-old self is this podcast is a collection of that. The wisdom that we've attained, not that we're, like Tyler said, we're not experts, but we have a lot of wisdom. We have a lot of experience. And these are just things that we wish we could tell ourselves. Our younger selves.
The coolest thing, man, and we haven't talked about this, the three of us, is what I love about you two, and I think myself a little bit the same way, is that we're hungry to learn more. We're hungry to soak up knowledge and experience from other people, because, I would much rather hear a story about Andy Frisella and, earning $60,000 over a 10-year span total. Right. And then how he's built that into, an 8-figure business. Right. And instead of me having to live on a mattress in the back of a supplement store, I'd love to hear that story and take nuggets from that. But it's all about the encouragement, the mentorship, perspective, but hearing other people. But I love that you guys are so hungry to ask those questions and ask the really, you got to pull it out of them and to get really, great information and great stories. And it's about a journey. We all have our own individual journeys, and, the guests that we have on, it's just been really fun pulling that out of them.
Yeah. And something we used to do, we haven't done in a while, but read a couple of reviews.
Yeah.
So, on the podcast apps, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you can leave reviews. You can rate 5 stars.
You can?
Darren, I know you didn't know that.
Really?
But you can rate 5 stars.
It has been a while, by the way, since we've done this.
We actually walked through Darren in an early episode. We walked through with Darren how to subscribe to the show, first of all, because he wasn't that. Then we taught him how to rate 5 stars.
Yeah, by the way, that took 37 episodes of telling him before he actually did it.
And then you can leave a review, which we understand takes time. And so that's why we appreciate those reviews. I want to highlight a few reviews. So a couple of reviews lately. This one is from Random Nation 12. Doesn't leave a real name, so Random Nation 12. The subject line, truly great people. And they left 5 stars for us.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
But they said, for me, it isn't the titles of being an NFL player and such that Darren Woodson, his crew, and guests hold that make his podcast great. It's that these people have the spirit to be better today than they were yesterday. The spirit to not give up or give in to less. Don't listen to this podcast for the titles. Listen to it for the spirit that they have.
Oh, man, that's it. Hey.
They did a lot better job of recapping this podcast than we did.
Absolutely.
So Random Nation 12, that was awesome. Thank you so much. And then one more we'll read from Carrie Olkjer.
Come on, man. You butchering their name.
Olkjer.
Just say it real fast.
Olkjer.
Yeah.
Is it European, you think? Olkjer?
I have no idea.
Carrie Olkjer. Sorry, we butchered it. She said, so fun to listen to. Or he. I guess Carrie could be a boy.
Let's read the review back.
This
you're
person
way overthinking this. Just digging yourself. Just more. Go, man.
This person said, so fun to listen to. Okay, I came for the Matt Frazier interview, but I'm currently binge listening to all their old shows. The chemistry with these guys is on point, which makes it so fun to listen to. Great topics and interviews, very inspiring and encouraging. We need more of this in the world right now. That's awesome.
There we go.
So thank you so much, both of you, for leaving that review. Please, that's how this show grows. It's by you guys. You know, we do marketing on social media, but honestly, the best way for this thing to grow is by you guys sharing. Yeah. We have a YouTube channel, so if you can't see our studio, it's because you're not on YouTube right now. The Darren Woodson Show on YouTube. And then, like I said, we're on all podcast platforms. So subscribe, leave a review, share with your friends, all that good stuff really, really helps us out. And then lastly, another exciting thing just happened to us. We brought on our first sponsor.
What?
Yeah.
No, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Hey,
Darren's like, so I got to stop writing checks?
And you may be sitting
No, you still do.
Yeah, and you may be sitting here listening thinking, great, another podcast, bunch of ads. And we're not going to do that. But what we love about this is, we talked about it a second ago, this podcast means so much to us personally.
Yeah.
And the fact that a company, an outside company, has seen that value and wants to jump on there with us is really, really special to us.
Yeah.
So we're not just going to read a million ads and just accept anybody. Like, these are people we have personal
I was gonna say,
relationships
that
with.
We do believe in their product. We believe in the company. We believe in the culture that they have, and that we feel is a good partner for us, not just whoever's going to pay to fill a spot, because that's not who we are. Yeah. So that's not this. But if you know, as we get going and we partner with companies on this, the only reason is one, we believe in their product, but two, so that we can expand our reach more people, and have more resources for the listeners, and so that the experience can be better.
Yeah, and this, you know, Tito's, who's our sponsor.
Yeah, who's the sponsor?
Tito's is a sponsor.
Tito's handmade vodka?
Handmade vodka. So I went 2 years ago, I spoke, and Tyler, I came back and I think I told you about it. You know, I speak a lot in the last few years. So I've been around the country, and I went to San Antonio and spoke at a retreat for Tito's, and their entire sales team was there. I have some really good friends in Desi, who's a good friend of mine, and Janet, who's one of their coordinators at Tito's. But the best culture ever, man. I mean, it's hands down the best culture. When I walked in, Tito's himself was there, intermingled with the rest of the crew. Wasn't like he was sitting on the front row. He's just intermingled. I had no idea who he was when I walked in. He shook my hand, and then later on someone said, "Yeah, that's Tito." And I'm thinking, what? I mean, they had a ton of energy, man, and I just love the crew. Yeah. So, it's more than a partnership to me. It's more like a family.
Well, and that's the products we love, right? Somebody you can get behind the company, not just the product, not just what it does for you, but the actual company. That speaks volumes when you say it's the best culture.
Well, let me tell you what it does to you.
Tell me.
It gives you that.
Read it, Bobby. Can you read?
Yeah. Oh, I get to read.
Yeah.
I can't see without my glasses. Tyler, wear my glasses at home, boy. All right, here we go. Tito's handmade vodka is distilled from corn and certified gluten-free. In the mid-'90s, Tito Beverage, that's his name, Tito, built his very own micro distillery in Austin, Texas, incorporating the boutique winery concept into the spirits industry. He acquired the first legal permit to distill in Texas and put his life savings into it. Damn, dude, how many credit cards? Racking up 19 credit cards. I would suggest you not do that.
I think
We're not experts, but we can tell you don't rack up 19
you can find
credit
investors for less than that.
Tito racked up 19 credit cards to build his own copper pot stills and condensers. He continues to produce award-winning smooth American vodka on the same land where it all started, over 20 years later. Tito's has won the unanimous Judges' Choice double gold medal at the World Spirits Competition. What would that be like? I mean, how do you...
Can you imagine?
I mean, tasting all the drinks and then saying, "Ooh, you know what I mean?"
Best, yeah.
Yeah. When do you start grading? Like,
I mean, is it
like is your 10th drink graded on a different scale than
my
your first?
assumption is that you spit it out, but I'd be the judge that accidentally didn't.
Yeah. It's got a modest paper label, Tito's that is, on a simple bottle. So all you pay for is the exceptional vodka inside. Visit us at titosvodka.com for recipes, videos, and more of the Tito's story. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Yeah. So a lot of information from them, and that's a great update as who they are. But here's a real life testimony. My wife is not a drinker. Like she very rarely drinks, but literally when she does, that is the only thing that she will drink.
Yeah.
Because it is that good, is that smooth. So, you go to a nice restaurant, she wants a blue cheese, olive, extra dirty martini.
Like blue cheese, olive.
Tito's.
So
Same
only
way,
Tito's.
brother.
She won't do any other these, top shelf vodkas. The great thing is this is an affordable brand, like they said, and it is the highest quality. So again, I back it. This is
I know
the
you
only
back
thing.
it,
This is
'cause
the
you're
only
always
thing.
hitting me up.
Hey,
dude, where's that Tito? Where them handles
My,
at?
my sister's wedding, by the way, you got us all Tito's
Yeah.
vodka. So thank you, Tito's, for giving it to Darren. Darren's going to take the credit. All he was, hey, drop it off on my porch, and then Tyler, your brother-in-law, is going to come pick it up. So he did a ton. But thank you, Tito's, for that, because my sister's wedding was awesome because of you guys.
And seriously, thank you, Tito's, for the partnership.
Yeah.
And again, it means way more than just an ad read. This is personal, and we appreciate them for supporting the podcast. 'Cause that's how we do this thing, right? Is by people coming along and helping us along.
That's
the way.
right.
So we appreciate it.
Right.
Cool. Ty, what are we talking about today?
Man, so if any of you follow Darren on social media or follow the show, he's been active on putting some thoughts out there, and one of the ideas that we're on camera, so whoever's watching,
I just pat him on the back, man. He's been very helpful.
It's a collab between
he's been very helpful.
Darren Woodson. But point is one, and it really hit me too, as I'm reading it, is the idea is what are you paying attention to? And in Darren's post, he talked about, are you paying attention to what the media is telling us what the reality is? Or are you paying attention to what you are seeing every day? And one of the things you said was 95% of the interactions that I have on a daily basis are great. People
Healthy.
Loving each other,
right.
helping each other, want others to succeed, selfless, empathetic.
Yeah.
All of the things that are great about humanity is what we're seeing a lot. But if you turn on the news, all you see is separation and anger and all the ugly things.
Isolation. We're seeing a little bit
fear.
Yeah. And that's the reason why we wanted to have this topic, because the reality is when I leave my house and I go to work or I'm at the grocery store or whatnot, I'm seeing people smiling. I'm seeing people that are encouraged. I'm seeing grace, and I'm seeing people and even through where we are in COVID right now. I'll tell you, this is, I feel like I am blessed to live in this country. Yeah. Because there's so much of good, that's so much good out there that we never talk about. All we isolate on are the negatives. What makes the headlines?
Negative.
The good never makes the headlines, right? So
good is boring.
That's right. So when we started talking, when we had that thought, I wanted to put it out there, and I wanted to have this conversation with us three to move it forward. Is what are you listening to?
Yeah. And something I've always been fascinated, and I'm by no means, we talked about earlier, by no means am I an expert, but I've always been fascinated by the brain and why we do certain things that we do. And so from a standpoint, like, it's natural, it's a survival instinct to look for a threat. Mm-hmm. That's why the negativity gets our attention, because we're way more engaged with a threat than we are with something. It's almost like if you were out in the wild trying to survive, like something good happens, that's great, and it can maybe give you a little bit of a boost, but you kind of disregard it a little bit, right? It's in the back of your mind. Whereas a threat, you're ready to fight. It's fight or flight, right?
Right.
You got to face it head on, or you got to go. And so I think that's what happens is these, however long ago, these media companies discovered, hey, if we can sell fear, if we can sell a threat, people are going to tune in a lot more than if we try to just highlight good stories. Yeah, a good story makes you feel good for a second, but a threat, fear, guess what? They're going to tune in tomorrow to figure out what the resolution was, or how it's progressed, right? And so it's easy to sit there on your social media, on your phone or on the TV, and get sucked into that and forget to, like you said, Darren, you go to the store and everybody's polite.
Right.
It's a great. When's the last time somebody came up to you, to your face, and made a racial remark or made a threatening remark?
Exactly.
It doesn't. You tell me.
No, it's just, I'm not. Look, and I'm not saying I'm not in that world, but I am in that world. I'm in that world where I'm an easy mark for someone that wants to just have something to say. I am, just through my time here with the Cowboys and living here in Dallas, and I don't see the negativity. I see the uplifting side of things. Now, of course, you're going to have some incidents within your life, man, but are you going to be hyper-focused on that negative?
Right.
Are you going to allow that negative to just tear your whole day apart?
That's right.
Or are you going to turn it around and focus on what's positive and find the positive in what we have? And I'll say this, guys. I'm much older than you two, and the older I get, I start to look at the opportunities in my life and how many more opportunities am I going to have to build relationships, to have time with my family or whatnot. Why pour the negativity or why accept that negativity that's outside that's coming in? And I'm a firm believer in the enemy is not what's outside. The enemy is what's in your brain, because your brain controls what you feel is a threat and how you deal with it.
Right.
And if you think it's a negative, if it's going to be a negative response, if your brain is saying this is going to be a negative response, then you've lost control.
Right.
You have to find a way to control that aspect of your brain.
Well, think about if you're a young person in this time, in this culture. When we were growing up, I paid no attention to the news.
Yeah,
and I didn't have social media, to grow up with. It was out of sight. What I experienced was my world, was my bubble, right? And it was whatever was happening around me, that's all I knew. Yeah. Now, it's great that I can be exposed to more things, and in a lot of ways it can be very positive. But imagine being 21, 22 years old right now. Your brain's still developing, right? You're still trying to figure this whole thing out. And you flip on the news and all you see is, well, they hate me because of my skin color. Or they hate me because of who I voted for this year, right?
Yep.
But what reality is telling me that most of and this is just my experience. Maybe I'm sure there's people out there that can say, well, I experience this all the time.
That's right.
But the point is, what are your eyes telling you? What is life telling you? Yeah. Are you going to believe what you see on TV, or are you going to believe what you actually experience in everyday life?
What letting someone else on social media tell you what you should be thinking. Are you paying attention to those voices, like you said, in your mind? And look, like you said in your post, 95% of what I see in person is great. And there is a 5%. Unfortunately, that 5% is the loudest.
That's right.
That's what the media grabs onto, right? It's in a real life example is we had Matt Frazier on the show a little bit ago. He had an unbelievable journey, unbelievable story, working in the oil fields up in Canada, breaking his back while he was training to be on the Olympic weightlifting team. All these things that he overcame.
Being the best in the world.
World, and how he got there and all the hard things. But we spent about 2 minutes on a disagreement that he had with another guy. Yeah. And here's the thing that I love about you guys is very easily we could have pushed this episode out as Matt Frazier, Rich Froning,
that's right,
battle between them two, the disagreement or fight, Matt Frazier versus Rich. I mean, We could have done that, but there was too much other good stuff in that episode to focus on it. And that's one thing is what do you in your everyday life? What are you paying attention to?
That's a great example.
And it really, because here's the thing, in your point to kids, what are we doing? We are raising kids in our culture to hate each other and hate our country. And that's not what it should be.
That's right.
It should not be. We like you said, live in the greatest place on planet Earth. Look at China right now. Look at one of their billionaires, the guy that started Alibaba. I don't know if you guys saw this. So he made one comment about the Chinese banking system and the federal government and having a ton of regulations. He's missing.
Wow.
He's gone.
Ty's about to go missing too.
I know, right? I know.
Hey, you can exit yourself out of here, Ty.
As far away from the West Coast as possible. But point being is, we live in a country that you have the opportunity to have free speech, to have an opinion, to think for yourself. But if you start tuning into Fox News and CNN and all these news outlets, or Twitter or Facebook, or all these things where honestly, it's just a bunch of opinions.
Right.
News these days is not facts.
Right.
There is no accountability to actually getting good facts out there. And you start watching this, and so you have a biased source that is portraying information as news, and it is actually opinion.
Yep.
And then now you're jumping on the bandwagon, and now you're just piling on the negativity. And you are contributing to the negative perspective.
You're being taken advantage of being a consumer. I mean, and that's the thought process is you got to watch what you consume.
That's right.
Yes.
Because whatever you're bringing into to whatever you're reading or you're digesting, it's going to come out some way, man. It's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
So if you're consuming positive feedback, and listen, I get it, that 5%, there's some negativity that goes on that needs to be
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's some race issues that out there that need to be dealt with, and we need to pay attention to some of those things. But at the same time, being a consumer, man, you can make a difference in that 5% as well.
That's right.
Make a difference in what you feel is negative and bring positive light to it instead of throwing another match and lighter fluid on that fire, man. That's how I look at it.
Dude, that is pure gold what you just said. And you may not even realize it.
No, I don't.
You can do something about it.
Yeah.
We think these things are happening and we're just innocent bystanders. There's nothing we can do. You can actually make a change.
Yeah.
How do you do that? You start influencing those around you.
Yeah.
That's where you start.
Yeah.
Maybe you can't change people in DC or people in California, right? But you can influence your community.
That's right.
You can do positive things in your community that will help. Eventually, it's like when you throw a rock into a pond, right? The ripple effect.
That's right.
Right. So you start small. Maybe you can't change the world, but you start small.
Super small. Think about how many office conversations are happening on a daily basis that is just fanning the fire of just negativity.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is, and it's at no fault. It's at
Echo chambers, right?
Yeah. That's right. At no fault. But again, you're just echoing what you see someone post on Twitter or you see on Fox News or of this and these people are evil. Like we have, because of the media, because of social media, we have a political system that is at war with itself.
Yes.
And and we forgot the fact that, guys, we are, you as political representatives of the population.
You're a public servant.
You are to do the best for us.
Yeah.
Not what's best for your party, not what's best for your investors or lobbyists or like, guys, you serve us. But like you said, and there's always been this two-party system, but look, the negative perspective that has come from social media and the news media, I mean, it has caused such a divide in our country that is not real not real. It's real, but it is manufactured.
That's right. Yeah.
Because of opinions and agendas. Yeah. Where it's like, look, love your brother as you love yourself. Love thy neighbor as you love yourself. And that's it. And, Tiffany and I, with our church this month, we are doing like a social media fast. And I'm not saying that you guys need to get off social media. I'm not saying, but just be aware of it, because for during the week, so Monday through Friday, Tiffany and I are off of social media. So we are not doing any social media at all. And it's crazy, the difference in mindset. And you talk about what you're paying attention to. It's not just political. We're not just talking about political. Are you paying attention to the social media that is putting unrealistic thoughts in your head? of yourself, right? Your self-image, of the money that you should have. All these things that are feeding this idea that you are insufficient as a person because you don't look this way, or you don't earn this, or you don't do that. Like, we have paid more attention to our family and the gratefulness that I have for my kids, because guess what? I just got back an hour and a half a day that now I'm paying attention to my kids and loving on my kids and raising my kids and speaking life into my kids that I didn't have because I'm not scrolling on my phone.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. What if you're a young kid listening to this? And I say young kid, I mean young 20s.
Yeah, the young whippersnappers.
And social media is just what you do.
Right.
It's probably not realistic to tell a 21-year-old, hey, just get off social media.
Yeah, I'm not saying
because there's a lot of good things that come from social media.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? So how does a 21-year-old navigate, and this is probably a question for Elizabeth. I wish she had a microphone. We'll try to project what you're thinking. But how do you tell a 21-year-old to handle how can they handle social media in a healthy way that's going to produce positive as opposed to producing more negative?
You know what? One of the things I would say, look, and we hit on it a little bit earlier, and again, I have a 20-year-old son who all day, every day is looking at his Twitter feed.
So what are you telling him?
Same thing. Hey, man, there are people out there who love the fact that you're just consuming their information. I mean, you're liking, they're making money. You're liking, and this is what I tell them, honestly, and I'm looking at it from a business standpoint. Like, why not be on the opposite side? How people consume what you're creating,
right?
Instead of you continue to consume what they're creating, because you start to form. And I've told him, I said, look, figure out who. And this is the thing, you sort of have to have some type of foundation of who you are, so you're not swayed by the social media that's out there. And you and I talked about it earlier today when we came in about, do you read your comments? No. Because those people don't sway.
Right.
I mean, why waste my time with the negativity that's on social media? You figure out what's positive that's on there that you like, and then you go that direction.
But that's, again, we talked about that earlier. That's a 51-year-old's perspective who didn't grow up with social media.
Exactly. Yeah.
If I'm 21 and I've always had Twitter and I've always had Instagram, it's very hard for me to not pay attention to comments.
But here's the thing is you talk about, that's content. But what is the content that when we get on social media that we are looking to consume? It's the people that are out living life, right? It's a life that either we envy, we respect, or something that we want to mold ourselves more like that, right? So and this is just one example. Like, there's a guy that I think he was out of like Salt Lake City. He sold a company for $20-something million. He was like 31. It's a young family. Their Instagram is bucket list family. All they do is travel. They've got millions and millions of followers because guess what? They go and live life. If you don't take your eyes off of your phone, it's really hard to create content if you're not actually out doing something. If you don't provide value, if you're just a commenter and you're just consuming content, then what value do you bring to actually use social media as a platform to build something? You talk about a business perspective. So you've got to actually take your eyes off of your phone and understand that there is a world around you that is more fulfilling than what your phone can provide. So talking to a 25-year-old is just take your eyes up. Realize that social media is a platform to use. It's not to live through. So just make sure that when you are like consuming, you've got to go out and live and enjoy the life that is around you and the beauty that is around you and the people that are around you before you can actually create content for others to consume.
Yeah. And again, the other element is, this is easy to say from our perspective. It's hard for Jaden, a 20-year-old living in this world, and our producer just did an awesome job right there, holding up a sign of something we should bring up. The other thing is influencers, right? Because and in the term there, influencer, right? You see what they're doing and you want that. You see what they're doing and you want to consume whatever product they're pushing, right? And you said something a second ago, Ty, that I don't want to glaze over. You use the term followers, and they talked about this on the Social Network. The term followers. Instagram is very specific with the people that are consuming your content are called followers. And to me, that's such an interesting way to phrase that. Because if you have an older person's perspective, why would I want to be a follower of somebody that's not Jesus Christ, right? Or whatever you believe in, right? Followers is such a powerful term.
Yeah.
And it's so, and again, as a young person, it's like how many follow. I mean, there's, you know this better than I do. There's middle schoolers, high schoolers that are rating their popularity based on the followers they have on Instagram.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's causing a big issue.
Yeah.
It's not just a simple like, hey, Darren, you know, me and Darren go hang out, and you know, back in the old day, back in our time, right? Me and Darren go hang out. You wouldn't know about it, right? Now it's like we're taking pictures, we're hanging out.
Yeah.
This person's left out, and it's causing a huge issue. Well, and I don't have an answer to it, unfortunately. I wish I could say here's a tried and true way as a 21-year-old you can. The fact of the matter is, you're going to be on social media if you're 21.
Do you want to be a sheep, or do you want to be a shepherd?
That's a strong term.
Hey, dude, that's what I'm saying.
Is that not what followers are?
Yeah.
If you want to be an influencer, you've got to create value that other people want to consume, and that is by going out and doing something in person, in real life, that brings value to others that other people want to consume.
Yeah. And that's just, I mean, again, I keep saying it. I keep bringing us back to, it's just a tough concept to grasp.
I mean,
you've got to live. You've got to live life to experience that.
But again, I mean, I digested when I was coming up, or even now, I look at news in a different way, and I can't. I think you're right about that, Ben. You know, I don't want to speak out of line in a sense, because how I consume information is one way, right? How these kids have been brought up in today's world. They don't look at CNN and Fox. They're on Twitter. Yeah. Twitter's breaking news.
They learn on Twitter 2 seconds.
Day long on, you know, what they need to be consuming at the same time. So, I mean, it's just it's a different time. It's a different way. I just say to those young entrepreneurs that are out there that are hopefully listening, just understand, like you said, you know, you're gonna be the sheep.
Yeah.
You're gonna be the shepherd.
Yeah.
You can consume as much as you want, but you figure out what you want to take out of certain things, and you start being that person.
Yeah, and hopefully you can find more positive resources.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to get the negative. That's just part of it. And in fact, the algorithms play into whatever you're interested in. Yeah. So if you start to portray to that algorithm you're interested in negativity, it's just going to feed you more.
Yeah,
that's right.
But hopefully there's positive influences or influencers, if we want to use that term, right? Hopefully there's people that you're following that can point you in the right direction, that there's more good than bad. Right? Because that's another aspect we've been talking more about media. It's also what you said, the war in your head.
Yeah.
What are you paying attention to internally?
Yeah.
Right? If you're wanting to accomplish something, are you telling yourself, hey, this is where I'm going to be next year. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get there. Or are you the type of person that's saying, man, I don't know if I can do that. Man, look what they have.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could.
That's a fine line, man.
You know what I'm saying? And that's a hard thing to navigate through as a young person, because you're seeing all this on social media or on the regular media, and you're thinking that's everyday life. And yet reality might be telling you a different thing.
That's right.
So
that's right. Yeah, and I think that's it. And you said it earlier, like, what are you paying attention to on social media? What does Instagram think that you like? Right? And you can control that based off of the attention you're giving. Are you following these pop culture influencers? You know, what's the boxer dude? The dude that's just the TikTok guy.
Jake Paul?
Yeah. You know, these guys that have
right there.
I know. That's, you know,
Elizabeth's over there shaking her head.
I know. It's like, these freaking. but point being is what positive value is he bringing other than shock value, right? That negative algorithm that social media has created, him, you know, pulling up to Conor McGregor and calling him out, like, you know, one of the greatest UFC champions that they've had, and not that he's a great influence by any means, right? But like, what value is he bringing other than being a shit talker?
Yeah.
Like, that's
But
it.
you know what?
But what's brilliant about that?
Brilliant, though, is
Here we go.
There was some brilliant.
What's brilliant is Tyler, who couldn't even say his name right. You know the story.
But
you were influenced by that.
But again, back to our original. What are you paying attention to?
Yeah.
Is anything that I do following him contributing to the success of my career, my family,
but that's
or
how
anything?
we look at things. I think that's how, like,
Get your mic.
I keep on outdating myself in here, but I'm trying to pull whatever value I can get out of the story, right? Whatever it is, right? It's to me, in my mind, always works. Okay, what is it that I can utilize to help myself?
Yeah.
Period. In which nowadays I'm looking at my son, and it's just he's like dumbed it all the way down. Like, that's funny. Yeah. And then moves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing of substance.
So that's a good point.
There's nothing of substance in this.
That's the mental control that you have. You say, okay, I got someone like Jake Paul or Dan Bilzerian. These guys that are just like, dude, what are you doing? Right? Like, but you're saying, okay, the mental shift inside of me is, okay, I'm going to see what he's doing good, and I'm going to take the positivity out of it. Very easily, I could look at this and be like, these millennials, they're just pieces of crap. They bring no value. They don't do anything. But I'm saying, okay, actually, I can learn something from him because I'm taking whatever content is there, and I'm shifting my mindset and saying, okay, what's good about this? Okay, I'm going to sift through the stuff that doesn't bring value to myself, my family, or my career, and I'm going to take the good things. Yeah. Okay, let's look at the marketing that he does. He's got this figured out. He's figured out this TikTok model. He's figured this out. Okay, what can I learn from it? I'm going to take that. But that's what you're paying attention to.
Yeah.
Not the negative nonsense that he's doing.
That's gold, right? That's perfect, because that's exactly what I was going to say is we've spent a lot of time on the negative side of it.
Yeah.
But man, there's some great opportunities on social media.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are so many opportunities to do good. And that's what we're talking about. You can control your sphere of influence.
Yeah.
If you start producing good content, positive content, things that people can latch onto and really make a great difference, that's the great thing. Or, I mean, again, we talk about Jake Paul and the downside, but like we said, he's brilliant at marketing. How many the dude is a multi-millionaire based off of YouTube.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that 15 years ago.
That's like saying, like looking at Richard Sherman, right? When he was in Seattle, right? People hated him because he was outspoken, he was cocky, he was arrogant, but he understood that, look, I'm going to be the villain, and people are gonna talk about me all the time.
And I'll tell you where he got it from. It's Chad Ochocinco.
That's exactly right.
That's exactly.
Dude, Chad Ochocinco, if he played in 2020, can you imagine his following? He's got a great following, but can you imagine if he was doing the things
he didn't have all the social media. He was using
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
The local news was broadcasting all this stuff. You know,
like Juju Smith and those guys are TikToking. Now I have my opinions on that. You know, that's, to me, that's no place for that in the locker room. But think about his following. He's got millions of people paying attention to what he's doing. But
here's the point is, you've got to pick your eyes up from the phone because Ochocinco performed on the field. He had a value that he brought to the game of football, but then he also complemented, okay, now we've got the marketing aspect of it. And the same thing as Richard Sherman. He knew that, I mean, Richard Sherman, I've gotten to meet him a few times. He's one of the most intelligent people I've ever been
he's
around.
a Stanford grad.
Yeah.
He's not an idiot.
And like, so he got it, and he understood that, like, I'm going to not only dominate on the football field, but I'm going to dominate outside as well, because I'm going to be a personality that captivates.
But I'm telling you, this is what we go back to. You go back to the entrepreneurial spirit. I know these young kids that are listening probably aren't thinking in that way. They're probably thinking, I'm just going to be creative. That's an entrepreneurial spirit. I honestly think in that fashion to say, I'm going, like, that's an influencer. Picking and choosing exactly what you want to get out of that, that's positive. Now, maybe I can do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Now I have no problem with that, but do something with it.
Yeah. That's right.
Don't spread the virus. I like that negative shit, and then go on to the next one, and just be radiant in that fact of just spreading the negativity of it. Just figure out what you like in it.
Yeah.
There's
and be an entrepreneur through that.
Like you said, there's a fine line. It's like taking steroids. You can grow a following pretty quickly by doing negative things, because that gets all the attention, right? I think of, and I hope I don't butcher it, Tekashi 6ix9ine. Is that his name, Elizabeth? Yeah. So there's a documentary on him, and I don't even know who originally aired it. Have you seen this documentary? It was fascinating how he blew up. At like 12 years old, he's putting out these videos, dropping F-bombs. And so he's doing it what I would consider the right way, but he grew an amazing following being himself, doing his own thing. So imagine if you do that in a positive light.
Yeah.
Right? Which hopefully is we want more people doing that as opposed. So as we wrap up, we talk about talking to your 25-year-old self. What would you tell yourself if you go back, or let's say you were 25 today, what would you tell yourself knowing what you know now? How would you navigate through the way that things are today?
So I'll say this is, first and foremost, think about the people that you want to be around. Think about the people that when you leave, they give you a feeling of, man, I want to be back around that person. Think about the characteristics that those people generally portray. There's a feeling of, oh man, like I like that feeling. It's a positive feeling that you have, because nothing sucks the energy out of someone more than just being negative all the time. So decide, what am I going to pay attention to? And what am I going to then mirror, and what am I going to reflect off of me? Am I going to pay attention to the positive side, or am I going to pay attention to the negative side? Because if you want to influence someone else, which we all have a platform, big or small, what do you want to represent? Do you want to represent someone that builds someone up, or do you want to represent something that tears someone down?
What about you, D?
I would say, look,
because you got a 20-year-old.
Yeah,
I mean, this is real life for you.
Look, real life is this. The social media aspect of Twitter and all the information outlets that are out there currently have, I have not been able to digest the way these kids do, and they do it in a way that I'll never really understand. But there's so much good information that's out there. Use it as a resource to grow yourself personally, grow your business, if that's what it is. But there is a ton of good information via social media. Don't be a person that's just consuming it and doing nothing with it. Do something with it. Turn it around. Make it as a value to you. Maybe you become the next Kim Kardashian, who I do not hate on. Like any of those influencers out there.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
They figured out something, and they became successful with it. So why not? I mean, if just take bits and pieces of it and then move forward. But again, understand what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And how it could absolutely conform who you are as a person. Because like I said, whatever you take in, eventually it's coming back out.
The other thing I'm going to add, just one more point, because I get two, and you guys only get one.
Do I get to go?
Final.
I haven't even talked yet. So.
But back to the original conversation starter on this post is, get out and have conversations with people. Because if you're just being told what a particular person or group feels and you just believe it, then it's very easy to think that you look that way, you believe this. You voted that way, you believe this. It's very easy until you actually get out and have a conversation with someone.
That's a great point.
You do not know what it is. So just encourage to actually go out and talk to people.
Yes.
I'm not saying necessarily like go be abrasive or go have a debate or this. Just talk to people.
Yeah.
That's where it starts. And it starts with giving somebody the opportunity to show their heart as opposed to what political side they are.
Yeah. And like you said, I got one more.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Right here.
I haven't even given mine.
It doesn't matter.
And you guys are going twice.
It doesn't matter. We're going again.
That's fine.
So you just spoke to exactly what I met Elizabeth. Like someone that's young, that's involved in social media, that consumes it in a certain way. But the one thing that was different from her was, which is different from a lot of kids that I'm around, because I spend a lot of time with charities and trying to give back to the inner city and all. But what was different was she looked me in the eye. She knew what she wanted. She was professional. She was engaging. She was willing to network, spend time, like you just said, face to face with someone.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing I think that we're missing, is that when you're so involved in just social media and you're not engaging at the same time, that you're at some point you got to be face to face with someone.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have to be. And then you have to perform when you're faced. And we're all about performance.
I would love to know the statistics behind engaging through comments and a positive outcome that comes from engaging through comments.
It never works. I've never seen an argument solved.
That's what I'm saying.
On social media.
And I mean, it's in our business, in real estate, right? Like it's real easy for someone to be real tough through email and be real abrasive through that. My number one tactic, if I get an ugly email or if I get someone that's being aggressive, I pick up the phone and I have a conversation.
Meet me in the parking lot.
Hey, if y'all are in the office and you hear me say "homie," that means we're fighting.
We're back to Fresno.
They went back to NorCal real quick.
But it's so funny how quickly things are solved and resolved because number one, tone can't be transferred through a keyboard. So you can't read a tone. You can't read the intent of what the message is supposed to be. So all of that it escalates when it's through comments. But if you have that face-to-face or phone call or whatever it is, I guarantee you very different outcomes. And guess what? It forces you to listen. Instead of, okay, I'm just going to the comment, I'm going to respond, and I'm going to respond. If you are actually engaging with someone directly, whether phone or whatever outlet it is, but if you actually engage with someone and have a conversation, it forces you to hear the other person and then actually make you think, are we actually that far off in our way of thinking?
Yeah. And I would say, kind of to your point, Darren, be careful how you build your foundation. And what I mean by that, it sounds like an abstract thing. Again, to the steroid analogy, you can get real big and strong very fast on steroids, but it's not long lasting. Right? You can grow a big following or pay attention to the negative, and it gets you an immediate result, but it's not going to be long lasting, right? What about when Jake Paul's 55, right? Is he still going to be relevant, right? Or whoever is building their foundation on a negative platform. What about the person that's building on a positive platform and is doing good things and is creating good products for business, right? There's a market for them forever.
Yeah.
There's only a short window if you're gonna play on the negative, right? So that's what I would say to my younger self is be careful what foundation that you're building.
That's right.
Speaking of social media, that's how you can connect with us. We've got an Instagram page, Darren Woodson Show. We've got a YouTube channel, which if you're watching this YouTube channel, we've got a Twitter now. Which we've never had. What? And that's all thanks to Elizabeth. We've got a Twitter now. We have nothing to do with that. That's going to be all Elizabeth. And then what else? If we got a Facebook, your personal Facebook page. So a lot of different ways to hopefully connect with us in a positive way. That's what we want to do. We want to be a positive out there. A lot of different ways you can connect with us on social media.
Handles, though, so people can find it easily.
Do you want me to run back through all of them?
Instagram and personal. Darren Woodson
Twitter
Show.
is the Darren Woodson Show. Yeah, Twitter is the Darren Woodson Show. Instagram is Darren Woodson Show.
Yep.
YouTube, type in the Darren Woodson Show. And if you're looking for us on the podcast apps, the Darren Woodson Show. Yep. So we thought about changing that name, but I guess we'll keep rolling.
We're keeping the name now. I love that name. Doesn't that sound so good?
All right, guys. We appreciate y'all so much. See you next week.